Hello, everybody. I am so excited to be here to talk about computer science today. And, what better day to talk about computer science than during CS Education Week? So, I'm going to show you all kinds of fun ways to get started with CS. If you've never done it before, no worries, you're in the right place. If you are already doing CS with your students, hopefully we'll talk about something fun that you can do this week to really amplify why CS education is a great addition to your schools. And I'm just so excited to share with you today. All right, let's get started. So as Matt said, I'm Sarah Phelps. I'm the CS and STEM program manager at the LTC. I was a classroom teacher for 15 years. I taught CS and STEM, but I also taught fourth grade. Elementary is where my heart is. I have lots of experience in CS education, both a little more formally, as well as informally through robotics and coding clubs. I have worked in instructional technology for the last 6 or 7 years. And I always like to throw out that I'm a mom of 3 boys. I do a lot of trial with all of the resources that I like to help teachers bring into their classrooms with the 3 boys that live at my house. And so the robot kits always get tried out, the websites, the new resources, they always have to get a stamp of approval before I bring them to anybody to bring into their classrooms. I'd love for you to follow me on social media. It's where I try to kind of share what I find. I'm just out here looking for the best resources and tools to help inspire and bring those authentic learning opportunities to classrooms. So follow me. Today, we've got the link to the slides. It's going to be on every slide, but if you want to copy, these are very clickable slides. You can see the bit.ly there. It's just CS Ed Week 23. It is case sensitive. So as you're typing it in, there's no capital letters. So again, thank you so much for being here today. I hope that we walk away today really excited to celebrate CS education and bring it to the schools that you're working with. So first of all, what is CS Ed Week? You may not even know that that's why we have this webinar today. So CS Ed Week is an annual call to action. And it's really focused on inspiring K-12 students to learn about computer science. It is about advocacy for equity in computer science education. And it's also to celebrate. This is an opportunity to see what people are doing around CS and amplify that work. And so again, if you're new to CS education, hopefully today you'll be inspired by one of the resources or activities that I'd show you, and you can go and amplify CS education in the community and in the school that you work in. So CS Ed Week is this week very intentionally. It'll be on your radar now until forever. It is always celebrated the week that holds December 9th, because that is the week of Grace Hopper's birthday. So Grace Hopper is a really well-known computer scientist. She created the first compiler, and that compiler kind of made the path for the programming languages that we use today. So all of those language-based programming languages, that is really thanks to the work that Grace Hopper did with the computer program or computer piler, first computer code compiler. She also has the kind of honor of popularizing the term debugging. Now, if you're new to computer science education, you may not be familiar with the idea of debugging, but it's a simple idea. Whenever we write code, it's inevitable that we're going to have something that's not working just right, and our code isn't going to be running the way that we want it to. And we have to dig in and try to figure out what mistake or error is causing our program to fail. And we call that now today a bug. But that goes back to an actual event in history where Grace Hopper was trying to dig into why the computer system was not working as expected. And she found an actual bug in the computer system that she was working with. It was a moth. And she coined that term bug and used that term bug. And we use it still today for a problem with the code. Luckily, today, we don't usually have to remove any physical bugs, but I'm not saying it's not possible. But it's a lot of fun to know kind of the history and the rationale for why CS Education Week happens in December every year. If you didn't know, now you know. It is in honor of Admiral Grace Hopper and her contributions to CS and computer science as we know it today. So you may be thinking, great, CS education. I'm here because I want to know a little bit more about how. How do we get started? How do we bring it to our students? Or maybe you're here because you know that CS is something that older students are doing, or you know that it's probably something that older students are going to have job opportunities in, and you want to get started. This is such a fun, easy way to get started. CS Education Week goes hand in hand with another very popular event called the Hour of Code. So the Hour of Code was created in 2013 by Code.org founder Hadi Partovi. And the idea of the Hour of Code is that literally anybody, anyone, no matter what experience you have with computer science, can program. You can code. And the Hour of Code is an activity. It's not supposed to take any longer than that hour, but it's fun and engaging. And it's so amazing because what started off as one individual activity has blossomed into an entire movement with hundreds and hundreds of different code activities from lots of different partners, including code.org, Google. We're going to take a look at some of those now. So if you're interested or you've never checked it out before, Hour of Code is a website you can visit. So it's just code.org/learn. We're going to go check it out now. So this is the Hour of Code website, hourofcode.com. We can go down, and as I mentioned, there are hundreds of activities from code.org and other partners in CS education, other partners in technology. You're going to see very familiar activities, things like Minecraft, things like Google. You're going to see Tinker, another well-known CS education partner. You're going to see CodeMonkey. There's so many cool, amazing resources here on the Hour of Code website. And each of these, again, is meant to stand alone as a one-time activity. It's amazing. They're meant to be self-paced. Each of the activities has built-in support. So you as the teacher, you don't have to be an expert in computer science. Actually, we like to call you the lead learner. When you're doing computer science, this is definitely not something I ever had a background in. I didn't study computer science as a student. I certainly didn't study it when I was doing my teacher preparation. And so I was really intimidated the very first time that somebody suggested that I tried an Hour of Code. It really dragged my feet. But once I got in here, I realized that number one, I didn't have to be an expert because everything that my students needed to be successful were built into these activities. So when you click on an activity, you're going to see all of the things that they need. There'll be videos, there'll be guidance, there'll be directions, there'll be everything for them to be successful. You, the teacher, don't have to teach or facilitate the lesson. They're meant to be self-paced so students can work through them at their comfort level, at the speed that they're interested in. But again, they're intended to be beginner activities that shouldn't take more than an hour. And because there are so many, your students should be able to find something that maybe links to an interest that they have or a hobby that they have, or again, something that they're familiar with, like a game that they already play or a topic that they're already, maybe experts in, like space. Or this year's focus, you're going to see a lot of hours of code centered on that AI topic. So I know that is a huge focus area for a lot of districts. It's on the top of everybody's minds. How do we introduce this? How do we use this with students? And so there are lots of brand new, amazing AI related activities in the Hour of Code collection. As you're navigating the Hour of Code website, it's pretty great. You as the teacher can help kind of find projects or activities that your students would fit nicely with. You can sort it by grade level. They really do have activities all the way from pre-reader, so pre-K kindergarten, all the way up through high school or beyond. I'll tell you, I was an adult the first time I did Hour of Code, so this is not just for kids. You can find an activity based on age. You can also find an activity based on your level of comfort with computer science. But even more, we can do even more filtering. If you go down the side, you can pick based off of the classroom technology that your students have available, including, we're going to talk about this even more in just a second, no computers. You can do an Hour of Code and start bringing computer science into your classroom without any devices. So if you're in a situation where you don't have a device for every student, or you don't have access to devices all the time. Maybe you have a shared cart of computers or an actual physical lab that, maybe you just can't get into right now. That's okay. You can still celebrate CS Education Week and do an hour of code with no computers or devices at all. And I'm going to tell you, these unplugged activities are super engaging. We're actually going to do one in just a minute. You can come down and you can sort based off of the topic. So again, you can help your students find something that really resonates with them because they're really interested in art or music, or maybe they really love a particular topic. I was definitely a language arts kid, so I was really intimidated a lot of times by math and science. So I would have been really hip if I could have come down and said, okay, I love reading. I want to do something computer science with reading. I love this because it helps students see the connection of computer science and all these other subject areas and really kind of begin to understand that coding and computer science are tools that can be applied to really anything, any job, any hobby, any focus. This whole page just keeps going and going and going. I really, really challenge you to check it out. Find one that is interesting to you, maybe even before you put it in front of your students. Try one out and get kind of get a sense for what an hour of code feels like and what it looks like, so that hopefully when you come bring these into your classroom, your students are really excited because they know that even their teacher has tried an hour of code. All right, let's go back to the other ideas of how you can bring computer science into your classroom, why you can bring this amazingly engaging and fun resource to your students. Now, remember, like I said, you don't have to worry about this not being an area that you feel particularly comfortable with. Computer science is definitely a newer subject that a lot of school districts are still kind of figuring out. They're feeling ways to see how it fits in with their current curriculum, how it fits into their current learning kind of frameworks. That's okay. You're not expected to be a computer science expert. The Hour of Code and CS Ed Week are the perfect opportunity to try coding for the first time. Students don't have to have any instruction from you. Everything that they need will be there to be successful. And you as a teacher are going to have access to resources as well, in a lot of cases, if you are interested in digging in a little bit deeper. Another really great way to support students when you are getting started with computer science, and it's really not only great because it is going to help your students feel a little more comfortable and confident with coding, but it helps reinforce some really amazing interpersonal skills and some of those 21st century skills. We call it pair programming. So pair programming is a technique. It's actually an industry standard for actual programmers. This is a career skill that a lot of programmers, they use this model when they're working. And it's where you work with a partner. Usually you have two programmers on one device. One is known as the driver. They're the ones who are actually moving blocks of code or typing the code. And the other person is the navigator. They are the person giving the directions. They're helping kind of troubleshoot and create the solution that the driver is then going to put into the program window. This is a great way to build confidence because if you have students, again, that don't have any experience, you automatically have that built-in buddy there to help you. So pair programming is such a great way to build confidence, to have that person that you can ask questions to and maybe kind of brainstorm solutions before you get started. This is an opportunity to build those really great skills like collaboration, communication, and even some cooperation, right? Like when we're doing a fun activity, I may really have a hard time giving over control. And this is a great time to practice that, handing over the responsibility for something to another person, but being there to support them. Pair programming is such a fun way for your students to experience computer science. And again, not only because it helps them be more successful, but it's such a powerful tool that is something that is used regularly in computer science in the career, out in the workforce.
Hey, Sarah.
Hey, Matt.
Can we interrupt for just a moment? We have a great question in the comments right now.
I love it. I'm so excited. I love participation. What's the question?
What does the word coding actually refer to?
Oh, that is such a great question. And I'm so glad that somebody asked that. Actually, I usually include a slide on that, and I neglected to do so this time. So when we talk about coding, we are talking about the actual language that we're talking or speaking to the computer to get it to do the task that we want it to do. When we think about computer science, it's really actually a lot broader than just the code typing into the computer. Hour of Code really focuses on that idea of getting the computer to do what we want, right? Dragging the blocks and speaking the computer's language. Computer science focuses on the big picture of looking at the problems that we have out in the world, or remember, we have computer science is related to literally everything. We might look at a problem that we're struggling with in our job and say, how could a computer help me do that better, right? That problem solving, that architecture of, okay, here's what I'm going to make an app, and that app is going to do this. And then the coding is the actual creation of the application or the program that's going to solve that problem. Does that help clarify what coding is?
I think that was a great explanation. The first time I learned about coding, they told me to break down the idea of, a simple task. Like, how do you make a peanut butter sandwich?
Yes.
And think about all the discrete, tiny little things that you need to instinctively, we need to know how to do to make a peanut butter sandwich, and we don't really think about it. Well, a computer has to be told all those little things. Open the bag of bread, take out 2 pieces, those kind of things. That's coding, right?
Exactly. And what's great about it is coding, out in the wild, we'll say, a lot of times people always, when they think about coding, they think about those like ones and zeros scrolling across the screen, right? Like the matrix. And at the very, very heart of your device, that is what's happening. That is how your computer works, with a series of switches and on and off signals. But what's really great is we don't have to know all of those really technical ways of communicating with the computer. We have language-based code that we, if you were a programmer, you could type in a little more familiar kind of words and sequences. There's still syntax involved, meaning that I have to type it correctly in the right order with the right punctuation. But even better is a lot of these Hour of Code activities use something called block code, which means that all you have to do is look at the code. Somebody else has already written the code correctly and the correct syntax, but they've slapped a block on top of it and have written in just very plain language what that code does. So you are just putting it in order. Like Matt said, you're writing the algorithm or the set of instructions to get the computer to do what you want it to do. That is an amazing question. I really appreciate somebody asking that. All right, as we transition, and please keep those coming. That's my favorite. I love talking to you guys, but I really love answering questions and getting to the heart of what everybody wants to know or needs to know to be successful. So as I mentioned, I know, and this is actually kind of a great transition, what we were just saying. You don't actually have to have technology to start doing computer science with your students. I know sometimes, especially my primary teachers, will kind of have a little hesitancy when it comes to doing things on the computer because they don't want their students spending a ton of time on a device, but they love the idea of helping students start to build some of these, what we call computational thinking skills. That's that kind of thinking like a computer, problem solving, breaking problems down, thinking about solutions and how we would get that solution in practice, in place. And so a lot of teachers are looking for ways to introduce these concepts and reinforce these concepts offline or unplugged. And I want to show you a really amazing unplugged activity, and then kind of go back to that code.org Hour of Code website and show you where you can find even more fun unplugged activities. So let's take a look. So I'm going to show you an unplugged activity. Now, this is one from the Hour of Code website. This is a dance party. I love dance parties and I love dancing because a lot of students can relate to this idea that dancing is a series of steps, especially if you're doing a dance that has a specific set of moves or choreography to it. So what I'm showing you here on this screen is the information or the support that teachers get for this activity. I know teachers love a good lesson plan that spells everything out to help you really make sure that you feel comfortable with this activity. So this is a lesson plan for the Unplugged dance party activity. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to think about and understand that we have to have a way, a controller that controls actions. And the only way that we can have an action happen is that we have to know what event, like clicking a mouse or, clicking a button or lots of other events, right? Doing a light switch, those in our program control what then happens. Okay, so we're going to start thinking about controlling actions with something called an event, because events are something that are used in programming, and they tell our code to run a specific action. Okay, so we would scroll down. We have everything we need. Again, trying to show, you don't have to already have all this down. All of these resources are here. Breaks it down into the different activities and even gives you a really great resource, some slides. So let's take a look at those slides. All right. So I'm going to hope that on the other side of the screen, I can't see you right now, but I know you're all going to be participating in this activity with me. I am going to be your teacher, and you're going to be a unplugged student learning about events and computer science, maybe for the first time today. So we're going to be doing a dance party. So I am going to show you some different moves, and each of these moves is going to be associated with a shape, and you're going to understand why in a minute. Okay. So again, I can't see you, but I know you're going to do this with me. If you want to, you can stand up. If not, you can just sit in your seats. But anytime that we see the star, we're going to do the star motion. So we're going to move our arms out. Okay. Imagine you have a classroom full of students. They are standing up. This is such a fun way to get them moving. And who knew? Teach computer science. All right. This is a favorite move for most students that I interact with. But if we see an orange triangle, we're going to dab. Okay. So the triangle is a dab. Okay. Let's see, this is 6-sided, right? I gotta go back to my 4th grade geometry. All right, so we have a hexagon here. We're doing a high clap on the hexagon. All right, a body roll. I don't know if I can move like that anymore on our circle. And then a this or that on our rectangle. So with this activity, we are going to help our students by associating a move with each of these shapes, because we're going to have an event controller. Okay. So again, this is an unplugged activity. Usually what I would do is I'd have this big on a screen up front, and my students would all be standing up. Now this controller, we have just gone through the program. It's a pretty simple program, but basically when I push one of these buttons, you are going to do the move that is associated with it, because that's what the program says. So if I press the star, then we are going to do the star motion. Okay. If I press the circle, we're going to body roll. If I do the triangle, we're going to dab. And if we do the hexagon, high clap, or rectangle, this or that. Okay. And if you don't remember what the moves are, you just make them up. All right. Now, because we want everybody having fun, and coding is fun, and computer science is a great time, I do have some music for us. So we're going to do a dance party on the other side of your screen. Hopefully you can hear my music. We checked it earlier. I think it's working. Matt's going to break in a rush if it doesn't, but I think it's going to work. All right. So I'm going to hit the music, and then I'm going to start doing the controls to show you how you could do this unplugged, awesome activity with your students. All right. All right. So we're going to start first. So I'm going to do it in the video. This is going to be a great video. All right. I'm going to put my mouse over the shape, and I want you to do it with me on the other screen. I'm just going to keep doing it. My screen is there, or if my mouse is there. We're going to keep going. All right, let's do something else. Dab, dab, clap, 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 clap. Try body roll. Look at that. Star. All right, I know you were all doing that on the other the screen and I don't just look silly on my side. Oh, Matt, did you give me some music? Thank you. All right. I'm perfect. Bravo. I know you were all amazing dancers. And I appreciate you humoring me. And if you are just sitting watching me in the little window giggling, that's okay too. I hope I gave you a good laugh. So this unplugged activity is such a great way to introduce without any screen. Again, even you don't even have to have this on your screen, right? You could pass this out as a physical copy and have students like using their fingers and pushing the shapes on the page. But this unplugged amazing activity introduces this idea, number one, of events, right? We only do the move when we press that button. Number two, we are introducing this idea of a program, right? A program is something tells an action to happen. This is a cool way you could have students start to program a dance, right? Where they write out the moves that they want to do in the sequence that they want them to happen. So they're writing a program or an algorithm for a dance. This is a great, amazing, unplugged way to introduce all these concepts and then get them up and moving, right? This is such a cool way for students to express themselves and really see that computer science, like immediately, is not just about sitting behind a computer, typing in ones and zeros, but it's real life and it's a lot of fun. Now, this activity actually goes along with one of the hour of codes that is online, and that is the dance party. Now, this year, the dance party has been upgraded with AI, which is pretty cool. So I'm going to show you this just a little bit. We're not going to go through the whole thing because hopefully as soon as you get off here, you're going to run to your computer and you're going to pull it up because you can't wait to see. But I did want to show you how this can transition into an online activity. So this is the newest version. When you go to the Hour of Code website, you will see that there's a 2019 version. That would be the original. And then this new updated AI version. And then there's even actually one that's called Keep Dancing. So when your students are having the best time and they can't stop programming all these amazing dancers, they can keep working on it. But as I mentioned, this hour of code is going to have everything students need to be successful. It has videos to get them started and to give them information that they need. Everything is super, super spelled out. There are directions. There are little boxes that pop up that say, hey, do this first, start here. If they get confused, there are hints. Students love this activity because all kinds of very popular music is built in. Code.org has worked with a lot of artists to get them to agree to be, to have their music included. And as they go through the activities, more and more music comes on. So these aren't your 4 favorites. No worries. There's more coming. But again, students work through. What's really cool is as they go, it helps them kind of build an understanding. So they're going to start slow. Remember, this might be some of your students' very first time. Maybe it's your first time too, and that's okay. So it says add blocks to create your dancer and then code them to do a new dance move. So click run to start dancing. So I need to add blocks. All right. Well, I'm going to make a new dancer. Perfect. There he is. Can do a cat or sloth. I say I'm going with sloth. Okay. And I need them to do a dance move. So let's see. Oh, here we go. Now I'm going to put that in there. Now, I switched it to a sloth. I do notice that says cat. So, very good. Drop downs usually let me change something. So I'm going to switch it to sloth and, I got choices. If I'm trying to be like your students because my students loved to change things. So, okay, let's change some things. Again, let's do the dab. All right. So I've made a new sloth. The sloth's going to dab, but he's not doing anything yet. Let's go back to the directions. Click run to start dancing. I got it. Here we go. And I have gotten the feedback that it worked. Now, if I hadn't been successful, I would have gotten additional feedback that says, hey, don't forget to do this. Don't forget to add this. Try this. That's how every single level is. Again, videos will pop up to help them. As soon as level 3, you start to see the AI incorporation. So this is generative AI. You get to add some an AI effect by giving it some emoji inputs. So you're going to pick some emojis that you want it to draw inspiration from. This is a really simplistic AI model. We're not using words, we're using emojis. So let's see. I really like the idea of space. And this disco ball is amazing. And you know what? I think let's do some stars. So I'm going to pick my emojis and I click generate, and it's going to give me a custom effect. This is the effect that is going to pop up from the emojis that I selected. Oh, that is awesome. Now I can choose to use this one because I love it. I could regenerate it, or I could even switch out the emojis. I think this is pretty incredible. So now my sloth has a totally new backdrop. And now I can—
When I met you in the summer, to my heartbeat sound, we fell in love.
All right. So as you can see, you keep going, you keep going, you keep going. You learn more. You learn how to control your dancers differently. You get to learn more about computer science as you go. And then at the end, you get to have a full-blown dance party where your students get to use everything that they've learned, everything that they have tried out in all the levels, and they get to build their own amazing final project here. This dance party is such an engaging, fun way. Again, if this is your first time with computer science, or your students are just experiencing coding for the very first time, this is a winner. Again, when you get to 10, you get all of this music. So every student should be able to find some genre that they love. I will tell you, when I did this with students, I've done this with students. I did it with second grade all the way up. Middle schoolers and high schoolers love this activity as well, if it's their first coding experience. I also have done this activity with younger students. We just did it as a group. I love the Unplugged activity to introduce this hour of code, but it definitely could stand alone as well. And again, this is new. The AI generation part is brand new this year, so students can have this also experience with generative AI for the first time. What's amazing about Hour of Code, you don't have to log in. You don't have to have student accounts. The only benefit of that, you can. Then students can save their work, but it's not required. You can use this without students logging in as well. So that's definitely helpful. So let's look at some other resources. I thought definitely, though, you would be interested in this AI dance party with code.org's Hour of Code because it's definitely a fun way to start to engage students with computer science. Now, again, so many online options, but how else could you start to think about computer science and start to bring it into your classroom, but also celebrate this Computer Science Education Week? Well, there's another kind of way to look at CS Education Week. It's a chance to start to build an awareness of who belongs in CS, right? And the answer is everyone. And who is doing CS already, so that students can start to see that they fit into CS by seeing role models and people who have similar interests or maybe look like them. So CS Ed Week actually has a website dedicated to all things about awareness. There are amazing posters. I'm going to head there. There are CS heroes, so you can actually get a whole set of posters that are different young adults who are working in CS that hopefully your students can start to kind of, identify with. There's all kinds of amazing resources on this website to help students learn more about computer scientists. There are great resources here for advocacy. So if this is something that you're passionate about, your students getting access to, it's all here. All of the resources to advocate are here. All the things that you might need to know more about how to celebrate. There are even more activities, and there's a social media hashtag. If you are on Twitter or X, you can share what you're working on in social media, or even just share one of the templates that they have to bring awareness to CS Ed Week, so that hopefully more people just like yourself will start to see that CS education is important, and it's something that students can get started with in K-12. So check out those resources as well. This is a great time to dig even further into CS education's role in career readiness. These websites have some amazing resources to help students start to see if I enjoy CS, or if I think CS is something that I would like to do in the future. What kind of jobs, what kind of industries might I work in? Cyber.org has super cool trading cards that are cybersecurity careers. It will tell you everything from what kind of degree or path for study do you need to do, what the average salary is, how many years of education it takes to pursue those positions. So that's a cool resource. Girls for Tech has some amazing resources related to women who are currently in technology. So if you want to try to find mentors or somebody who can, share their experience of getting into technology. Skype a Scientist is a cool way to connect synchronously with people in careers that are related to anything science, but CS is in the list. You can set up a time. Don't have to use Skype. You can use any video conferencing platform, but you actually connect with a live person and they get to talk to your students. We did this when I was still in the classroom. It was amazing. We connected with somebody who actually was in Australia. He was originally from the US, but he was working in Australia, and he was able to answer questions for my students. He was on the screen. He would talk about his job and the skills that he used and the things that he was doing, and they could ask him questions. And it was so cool to really actually talk to somebody who was using these skills, right? We've all been asked, when am I going to use this? This is the perfect time to get in a perspective from them on how these skills are important to their jobs. CS Journeys are videos that, again, link up the skills that we're doing in CS and computer science to careers that are out there. And then Amazon also has class chats. So you can connect with leaders, industry people through their class chats as well. They also have asynchronous virtual field trips and just video interviews with people in technology as well. So there's so many cool ways. And that's a really fun way to explore computer science in a kind of a different lens, through a different lens, than just being on the computer doing the coding activities. It kind of brings a foundation for why CS is important and why we're learning about it and how it could impact the future. So if you are intrigued or your interest is piqued by any of the resources that I have today, and now you are excited about helping other people know about it, I wanted to share some ideas for how you can build interest in computer science in your school, in your district, in your community, because once you get excited about it, you're going to want to tell everybody. So one of the fun ways that I have seen schools and districts build an interest and an excitement about CS is by having a staff focused hour of code. So instead of doing it just with your students, they actually did it during a staff meeting. And they really kind of got to take on that role of a student, which was really great. They were all there together. They programmed because, they were a little nervous about computer science and programming for the first time. They tried out all of those strategies and techniques and did it as a staff meeting. So that was super fun. They were sharing their projects. It was such a great way to build computer science knowledge and to hopefully get more people that maybe would have never considered computer science as something, or coding as something to bring into their classrooms. They got the chance to experience it. So if you are somebody who is passionate about this, think about possibly hosting your own staff hour of code. Highlight your participation. Matt has some hashtags, some ways to connect on Twitter and X. Let people know that you're doing CS Education Week, that you're celebrating, that you're doing the hour of code. If your school does any sort of other social media, highlight it, celebrate it. Families get really excited and interested when you say, hey, we're learning computer science. Celebrate that and kind of educate them. The next topic is related to that. Incorporate hour of code or CS education into your family nights. Host a family hour of code, or invite family members in. I know it's Wednesday of CS Education Week. It might be too late for that this year, but incorporate your parents and your family members into your hour of code events. When I was still teaching CS, I let parents know that we were going to do an hour of code during class that week and invited them to come in and join. Another colleague had sent out a informational sheet to parents asking for parents to come and talk to the students about their jobs. So kind of like Skype a Scientist, but IRL, in real life. They came and actually shared about their job. So you could definitely do kind of almost like a career fair where family members of the students that are in your class talk about how computer science impacts them. And this is a fun one too. Invite legislature. When you have a legislator, know that you're trying to kind of expand your offerings and really promote some of those future ready skills. They get very excited about supporting those efforts. Illinois has a lot of CS movement right now. We have legislation related to a CS grant. We have legislation for a high school requirement. CS is kind of one of those things that people are talking about. And so by highlighting what you're working on with CS, and again, invite them too. Tell them to come in and do an hour of code. It helps build that awareness of what can be done and how you're already doing the amazing work. You can find all kinds of resources to support all of these things at Hour of Code. They have promotional resources, letters you can send out, posters you can hang up, postcards you can send, even stickers you can print, kind of like I voted stickers. They say, I did an hour of code. You could print those for students so that when they go home and parents say, what does that mean? They can have a conversation. CS Ed Week also has all those advocacy resources as well. And again, all these things are there to help you promote CS education and the good work that you're doing around it. So there are our hashtags, CS Ed Week, hashtag impacts of computing. And then there's one more really cool thing I have to share with you. So the LTC is actually doing, we'll call it a competition, I guess. We are doing something called How Do You Code? It's a challenge. There you go. Week, but actually going into January, because we know that it's a very busy time of year. And it's sometimes really tricky when you are trying to balance everything. So from now until January 12th, you can participate in the How Do You Code challenge. And in order to participate, all you have to do is share some photos on Twitter. You're going to want to tag the LTC in that post and also do hashtag How Do You Code for a chance to win some really cool, fun computer science swag, which is awesome, but even cooler, a $250 gift card to help support your CS program. Whether that you want to use that for hosting a fun family event and buy some pizzas, or maybe you want to invest in some other computer science tools like some robots or something. The sky's the limit. Hashtag How Do You Code to share, to really, again, amplify the amazing stuff that you're doing with CS at your schools and in your classroom, but also to build an awareness so that a teacher who maybe is sitting out there thinking, I'm not sure, I'm not a computer science expert. I don't know if I can bring this. They're going to see the amazing things that you're doing with your students at your school and in your classrooms. They're going to be inspired and they're going to want to try it out as well. And we are trying to build that excitement and that hopefully that confidence that everybody can do it. And it is something that's going to be fun, engaging, and so beneficial for your students. Last but not least, I want you hopefully to come. I hope today has been helpful. I hope it's been exciting and inspiring. And I want you to stay in the know. So if you aren't already, the CS and STEM group at the LTC, we have monthly networking meetings that we definitely want you to join. It's educators coming together to talk about how they're incorporating CS and STEM. They connect with one another about resources and tools. They share ideas. They share challenges. It's a way to really find a group of teachers who is, dealing with the same challenges that you are and connect with them. So we have monthly virtual meetings. We also, from time to time, are able to do some in-person things. So check those out. Asynchronously, there's the community. The LTC community has lots of focused communities on all the different topics, but we specifically have one related to CS and STEM. I share lots of resources there, connecting things like funding opportunities, challenges. Again, people ask questions and connect with fellow colleagues over challenges that they're having or resources that they've found. There are also some amazing professional organizations in Illinois that can support this computer science education movement as well. CSTA has a Illinois statewide chapter that you should absolutely join because it's free and you get connected with lots of great resources. IDEA, Illinois Digital Educator Association or Alliance is amazing, is constantly doing cool activities related to CS and STEM. So make sure that you are a member of IDEA. They also are a free membership. Free is awesome. You just get to have all the cool knowledge and perks of these two organizations. And then an advocacy group in Illinois is CS for Illinois. I definitely feel like they are helping support all of the things in the CS movement. So check them out and just find out how you can get involved in advocating for CS Ed in Illinois. I really, really appreciate you being here today, and we'll open it up for questions if anybody has any.
Well, thanks, Sarah. Appreciate it. Molly asks, are there other non-Twitter options? And you already gave a number of places we could go for more resources.
Is Molly, are you asking about to participate in the How Do You Code activity, the How Do You Code challenge? Yeah. Okay. I think I'm Matt. I'm gonna make an executive decision here, and I hope that marketing doesn't get mad at me. Molly, I am going to say that if you shared those with us on our LTC community, we'd probably accept those as well. So if you aren't already connected to the LTC CS and STEM community, you'll be sharing not with quite as broad of an audience, but you'll still have over almost 400 teachers that will see your activity. So share there, and then we will celebrate it at the community. And I'll tell Sam that I added that on the fly.
And if you're not aware of how to get to the LTC community, if you just visit ltcillinois.org, up at the top of the screen, you'll see the words LTC community, and you can just click on that and create your profile. And then there are all kinds of different networks based on your interest that you can join. So for this one, I would definitely check out Computer Science and STEM.
And you can be a member of as many communities as you want. We challenge you to join them all.
Any other questions for our comments section here? Oh, we have another one. Oh, that's a big one.
Ooh, okay.
If I want to do hour of code activities with my middle school students, I love middle schoolers. Do you recommend I let them completely choose their own, give them 2 or 3 choices to choose from, or all work on the same one together?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think that really depends on your group of students. If you think they will be more motivated if they get to choose a topic that is meaningful to them, then I would go that direction. But what I do love is when we are working on the same one, because then that collaboration happens very organically. So I would say my favorite is probably start with one together, do one. And I always, again, I'm such a big fan of the dance party because I feel like it's very engaging because it has a wide variety of genres. It has a wide variety of dance moves. It's really just it's pretty engaging. It has the AI this year. But then what you could do is, if you want them to be able to then dig into something that they enjoy, have another opportunity for them to do that. So they get the experience together, they get the shared experience, and then they also get the opportunity to dig into something that's interesting. That would probably that's kind of how I've approached it in the past, just to have a shared moment and then also really let them dig into something that was interesting to them.
Right. And it doesn't matter, it doesn't matter what you choose as long as you start. It's like doing digital citizenship. You might start with something that is way below their abilities, like with digital citizenship, playing the Interland game. But that's going to lead them to start asking questions. That's going to lead them to get interested and reinforce some concepts they already know. And that's just a good stepping off point for the next lesson.
Yep. And then they can really, especially if you help them dig into how to use the filters, they can really start to find things like, and I always had, somebody was like, I want to type code. I don't want to drag blocks anymore. So we would find something for them. It's just, there's so many great choices. I do feel like my one reason that I always started with that shared experience was sometimes you get like overwhelmed by all the options. And so then students wanted to try all of them and like not actually finish any.
Right.
So we all did the same one together and kind of worked through that to completion so that everybody had a successful hour of code, and then they could kind of dig around and find ones. And if they bailed out, we knew that everybody had that experience, successful experience.
Great. Okay. Any other questions before we lose Sarah for the day? It's not often you get someone that Sarah's kind of expertise to answer your question.
But you can always email me. I love talking about these things. So make sure if anything comes up, if you put it in the community, I'll definitely see it. But also please reach out. Matt, my email is in the presentation. Is it okay if I just throw it in the chat too, just in case?
Absolutely.
Okay, I'm going to throw it in the chat. So this is an open invitation anytime. If you have a question, if you have you want to work through, I have an idea, can you help me brainstorm that? There's no greater joy being connected back to classrooms who are bringing computer science in. I'm your partner if you need me, so reach out. That's my favorite thing to do. There
you go. Awesome. Well, thank you very much for sharing with us today, Sarah. Sarah has her email address there. Hopefully you don't get crazy spam now that we put this out there in the world, but
that's okay. It was already out there, Matt. It's okay.
Oh, there you go. Okay. Well, thank you very much for spending some time with us today. And for those of you watching, thank you for joining us. And we hope you'll check out ltcillinois.org/webinars to learn more about this topic and even more. Sarah, thank you so much.
Happy CS Education Week.